Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at aim and energy and their role in personal transformation.
Right.
And we're doing this through this really fascinating conversation between Jordan Peterson and Tony Robbins that you shared.
Yeah.
And just getting ready for this, I was struck by how Robbins sort of blends psychology and self-help,
Yeah.
even has a bit of a spiritual element to it.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And one of the things that really struck me in preparing for this
Yeah.
is that Robbins doesn't just talk the talk. He actually put his personal development program through a clinical trial.
Yeah.
Which is,
It's almost unheard of
yeah,
in this field,
yeah, it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the study. Like, what did that actually involve?
Well, it was published in the Journal of Psychiatry,
Okay.
and it was a randomized controlled trial.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that participants were randomly assigned to either Robbins' program or a control group.
Mm-hmm.
And the control group used gratitude journaling,
Okay.
which itself has proven benefits for well-being.
So they were really setting the bar high for
Yeah.
Robbins' program. So
Yeah.
what did they find?
Well, the results were remarkable. After just 6 weeks, participants in Robbins' program saw an 83% reduction in depression severity.
Wow.
Even more impressive, 93% achieved complete remission of their symptoms.
93% remission. That's incredible. I know some studies using psilocybin and therapy have shown promise,
Right.
but this seems even more effective. It
Yeah.
really makes you think, could a powerful aim be the key ingredient?
It's a compelling question.
That drives such incredible outcomes.
Yeah, and what makes those findings even more significant is that the improvements were sustained.
Okay.
Follow-up assessments a year later showed lasting positive changes in emotions.
Wow.
This wasn't just a temporary boost. It was a genuine transformation.
It's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about creating lasting change. And that sort of brings us to one of Robbins' core concepts, this idea of pull motivation.
Yes.
What does he mean by that?
So pull motivation is the idea that having a compelling vision of the future can be a much stronger driver of action than relying solely on willpower.
Okay.
It's like setting a destination that you're magnetically drawn toward, rather than just trying to force yourself forward.
I love that analogy he uses about the Dakar Rally. You wouldn't use a regular car
Right.
to compete in this grueling desert race.
Exactly. You need a vehicle specially designed for that environment.
Yeah. And Jordan Peterson actually connected this to his work. Specifically, he brought up bees
Yes.
and how they will expend their own energy to communicate the location of valuable resources to the hive, to their hive.
Yeah.
So it's not just about them getting the reward. They're willing to work to help others benefit.
Exactly. The fact that they're willing to use their own energy signals how much they believe in the worth of the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And Peterson suggests that Robbins' high energy on stage is a similar signal to his audience.
Yeah.
It embodies the immense value of the transformation he's offering.
It's like he's saying, this is so good.
If
I'm putting all my energy into sharing it with you.
It's not just about setting any goal.
But it's more than just setting any goal,
Right.
right? Robbins emphasizes digging deeper into the why behind the goal.
Absolutely. He calls it multidimensional analysis.
Right.
It's about exploring how your goals would affect various aspects of your life.
Okay.
Your relationships, your family, your community, your sense of purpose.
It's about understanding how it fits into
Exactly.
the larger story of your life.
Precisely. And this is where we often bump into internal conflict.
Yeah.
Robbins helps people identify those conflicting motivations that may be sabotaging their progress.
Yeah.
It's not about erasing all internal conflict, but rather understanding and unifying the most important parts of your personal narrative.
Mm-hmm. It's like those times when you feel pulled in multiple directions. And Robbins's process is kind of helping you figure out which direction is truly
Exactly.
aligned with your deepest values.
Yeah,
But even having a clear aim and understanding your motivations isn't the whole story.
you're right.
Yeah.
Robbins is adamant that strategy and execution are just as crucial.
Okay.
He uses the example of Steph Curry, the phenomenal basketball player.
Right.
Curry's mastery isn't simply talent or desire.
Mm-hmm.
It's years of disciplined practice, essentially rewiring his nervous system for
Right.
peak performance.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was trying to learn a new song on the guitar
Oh,
recently, and I really hit a wall.
Yeah.
But then I remembered this quote from Robbins: what you're rewarded for in public is what you practice in private.
Oh, that's okay.
And it really made me realize I wasn't putting in the consistent effort needed to really master this.
That's a perfect example of how Robbins connects these concepts to everyday life.
Yeah, and speaking of practice and rewiring our nervous system, this is where we get to one of the more surprising elements, I think, of Robbins' approach.
Okay.
This daily priming routine.
Oh, yeah.
So what is priming and how does Robbins use it?
So in psychology, priming is the idea that external stimuli can subtly influence our thoughts and actions, even subconsciously.
Okay.
Robbins has developed a 10-minute daily routine designed to prime his mind and body for success.
Okay.
It's actually quite simple and accessible, even for someone who doesn't meditate regularly.
I'm definitely someone who struggles with meditation. So walk me through this routine. What does it involve?
Sure, it's broken down into 3 parts. First, you spend 3 minutes focusing on things you're genuinely grateful for.
Okay.
Not just thinking about them, but truly feeling the emotion of gratitude.
I can see how starting the day with that kind of gratitude could really shift your perspective.
Yes, and then you dedicate 3 minutes to prayer or blessing.
Okay.
Now, this doesn't have to be religious in the traditional sense.
Okay.
It's about connecting to something larger than yourself, seeking guidance, clearing negativity, and reinforcing positive qualities.
So it's like setting an intention for the day.
Yes. What's the final piece?
Yeah, what's the final piece?
The last 3 minutes are dedicated to what Robbins calls 3 to thrive.
Okay.
You visualize 3 specific outcomes you want to achieve that day and vividly imagine the feeling of having already accomplished them.
You're not just picturing the outcome, but you're actually feeling the emotion associated with it.
Absolutely. By visualizing and feeling the accomplishment, you activate what's known as your reticular activating system.
Oh, wow.
This part of your brain helps filter information and directs your attention towards things related to your goals.
So you're essentially training your brain to be on the lookout
Exactly.
at these opportunities.
It's priming your brain.
That's fascinating. I can definitely see how incorporating that into your daily routine could, shift your mindset and create a more balanced, positive, and productive day.
Yeah, and you mentioned that Robbins has an event called the Time to Rise Summit. Is that something our listener might be interested in exploring?
Yeah, maybe we should talk about that.
Sure. The Time to Rise Summit is a free online event that takes place over 3 days with 3 hours of content each day.
So no cost, no travel.
No cost, no travel, and anyone worldwide can participate.
Wow, that's incredible. It makes this so accessible to anyone with an internet connection.
And I think what's particularly inspiring is the story of a man named Matt who participated in the summit.
Okay.
Matt weighed 700 pounds and had been bedridden for years, relying on an oxygen mask just to breathe.
Oh, wow.
He wouldn't have been able to attend a traditional in-person event.
Right.
But the Time to Rise Summit gave him access to Robbins' teachings from his own home.
It's amazing how technology can really remove those barriers.
It is.
To personal growth.
Yeah, so what happened to Matt?
Yeah, what happened?
Well, he was so inspired by the summit that he began making changes in his life. He started moving more, eating healthier, and focusing on his mindset. He eventually lost a significant amount of weight to the point where he no longer needed the oxygen mask.
That is such a powerful testament to the potential
It is.
for transformation, even in incredibly challenging circumstances.
Yes.
But I'm curious to dive a bit deeper into some of the specific concepts and tools that Robbins shared with Peterson. For example, you mentioned future authoring earlier. Could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Future authoring is one of Robbins' signature exercises. Future authoring is all about getting incredibly specific about your ideal future. It's not just about setting vague goals.
Right.
It's about crafting a detailed narrative of your life 5 years from now.
So it's like writing a story about the best possible version of your future self?
Robbins argues that the act of putting it into words makes it more real and tangible for your brain. It's like creating a blueprint that your subconscious can then work towards.
Yeah.
But he doesn't stop there. He pushes people to really examine their reasons for wanting those things, to connect with the deep-seated motivations that will fuel their actions, even when faced with challenges.
This reminds me of something he said about the difference between wanting $1 million and wanting the feelings of security, freedom, and impact that $1 million might represent. It's not just about the thing itself.
Yeah.
It's about the emotions and experiences it symbolizes.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, as he sometimes puts it.
Okay.
You might think you want something on the surface, but underneath there are often deeper, more fundamental needs driving that desire. And Robbins argues that those deeper reasons are what give us the staying power to actually achieve our goals.
It's about tapping into that intrinsic motivation, that fire within
Right.
that keeps you going even when things get tough. But how do you actually find those deeper motivations? I can imagine some people might struggle to articulate those.
Robbins has developed a range of techniques for that, but one he often talks about is modeling. He's constantly studying people who've achieved extraordinary things in various fields,
Okay.
looking for the common patterns and strategies they've used. It's like searching for the success code by observing those who've already cracked it.
That makes sense. Learn from the best, right?
Exactly. But isn't there a risk of just copying someone else's path
Yeah,
instead of forging your own?
that's a great question.
And it's something Robbins addresses directly. He's not advocating for blind imitation. He's about identifying the underlying principles and strategies that successful people use and then adapting them to fit your unique circumstances and goals.
So it's more about understanding the mindset and the approach
Precisely.
rather than just mimicking specific actions.
It's about extracting the wisdom from their experience and integrating it into your own journey. But this also brings up another fascinating aspect of Robbins' work. He challenges the conventional notion of having a single personality.
Wait, so he's saying we have multiple personalities?
Not in the clinical sense.
Okay.
He believes we all have different aspects of ourselves that come to the forefront in different situations.
Okay.
It's like having a cast of characters inside your head, each with their own motivations and desires. Sometimes those characters are aligned and working together. Other times they're in conflict, pulling us in different directions.
That's an interesting way to think about internal conflict.
Right.
So how does Robbins' approach help with that?
His work is all about helping people understand those internal dynamics and learn to align those different characters towards a common goal. It's about creating internal harmony so that all parts of yourself are working together towards what you truly want.
That's a really powerful concept. But how does he actually go about achieving that alignment?
Well, he uses a variety of techniques, but one he emphasizes is the importance of moving from cognitive understanding to emotional understanding and finally to physical mastery.
Okay.
It's not enough to just intellectually understand something. You need to feel it in your body to embody it.
Okay.
It's like learning to drive a stick shift car. At first, it feels overwhelming trying to coordinate all those different actions.
Right.
But with enough practice, it becomes second nature.
That's a great analogy.
So it's about rewiring your nervous system
Mhm.
through consistent action and repetition.
Mm.
And Robbins accomplishes this in part by creating a truly immersive experience in his events. He uses music, movement, storytelling, humor, all these different tools to engage people on an emotional level, to break them out of their habitual patterns of thinking and behaving.
It almost sounds like a form of hypnosis, but done in a way that's
Fair.
fun and engaging.
It's about creating an altered state of consciousness,
Right.
a heightened state of awareness where people are more receptive to change. But it's not about manipulating people. It's about empowering them to tap into their own potential.
So he's not just telling people what to do, he's creating an environment where they can experience this transformation firsthand.
He's providing the tools and the space for them to create change for themselves.
Yeah.
And a big part of that is identifying what he calls a holy grail strategy,
Okay.
something that has a proven track record of success in a particular area.
I remember him mentioning private equity
Yes.
as an example and how that has consistently outperformed the stock market over the past 37 years.
It's consistently outperformed.
Yeah.
But wouldn't applying that strategy require a lot of specialized knowledge and resources?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It definitely depends on the area you're focusing on.
Yeah.
But the point is that Robbins is all about finding those high-leverage actions that can produce exponential results.
Yeah.
It's not about working harder necessarily, but about working smarter, leveraging the right principles and strategies to maximize your impact.
It's about finding those key actions that are really going to move the needle,
Yes.
rather than getting caught up in busy work.
Exactly.
But even with the right strategy, action is crucial.
Absolutely. Robbins is a huge proponent of massive action.
Okay.
It's about overcoming inertia, taking that first step, and then building momentum.
So it's about moving from knowing to doing.
Exactly. That's something I struggle with sometimes.
me too.
I can get caught up in planning and research and never actually take that first step.
Yeah, it's easy to get stuck in that analysis paralysis.
Robbins has some great advice for that. He says progress equals happiness.
I like that.
It's not about achieving some distant goal. It's about the feeling of movement, of making progress that creates a sense of fulfillment and joy.
So it's about focusing on the process as much as the outcome.
Exactly.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into this fascinating world of Tony Robbins and Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
Remember, The journey of personal growth is ongoing. Keep exploring, keep challenging yourself, and keep striving to become the best version of yourself.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time.